Good afternoon. Welcome to Blakey's Boot Room once again here on Wales Online. Nathan Blake in the studio and Steve Tucker returns. No more Terence Phillips this week, which is a terrible shame.
He couldn't make it.
A big miss.
He couldn't make it this week.
It's going to be a big miss this week.
Sorry, guys.
It's going to be a bit. Good to have you back, Steve.
Yeah, Steve Tucker, by the way. Nice to meet you. Really.
Yeah,
nice to see you. How long since the last one now? It's been a while. So we can make up for it today with lots of exciting.
We can indeed.
Banter and chat.
We can indeed. Before we get to all that, I suppose we must start with the sadness, really. Ken Wynne-Jones obviously flown back to Trinidad following the game on Saturday. We saw the shirt tribute. Terrible story, really. Two cousins shot dead. His uncle fighting for his life in hospital after a terrible incident.
I think it just brings some perspective, doesn't it, to football, number one. And it also, for me, it highlights... that players do have a life outside of football, whether that good, bad, indifferent, whatever. I think a lot of people often see, especially us guys in the media or you guys in the media, don't often look beyond what you see on a football pitch. Do you know what I mean? That character you see on a football pitch. So, it's just like I said, it brings football into perspective, and I think every City fan there is, every football fan would offer their condolences. Every person, it's just a real tragic situation.
Yeah, very brave to play. Stephen got a goal as well. So you can't argue with that.
I think Blakey's right there. You do, particularly fans, you look at the guys and you expect them to be like automatons. You know what I mean? And anything that happens off, whether it be something as devastating as this tragedy, or your wife splitting up, or one of your kids ill, or anything like that people, it's sometimes hard to leave those things behind off the pitch. And totally. I mean, brave guy for playing, and hopefully go back there and kind of try and sort things out of a terrible tragedy.
I remember losing my brother when I was at Wolves, and this was one of the reasons why I never really, trusted Dave Jones then, was because there was no reference to it, no how are you, nothing at all. And it psychologically it really affects you. It really affected me, And then there was another incident where my youngest child was very, very ill, born prematurely, and again, it was almost water off a duck's back. So it's those situations where you like to think your manager manages people, gets to know his players, not just in a footballing aspect, but I always say as a manager, you kind of, you're the mother, the father, the grandmother, the grandfather, the friend. Do you know what I mean? You're a bit of everything.
That's part of man management, isn't it?
Yeah.
Particularly in football, because you're dealing with egos and guys and guys performing under massive pressure, a lot of them, like massive expectation, and often as well, young guys as well, aren't they? They're teenagers, guys. So I think that kind of father figure, or whatever you want to call it, I mean, I think that for any good manager worth his salt, arm round the shoulder time, I think that's a massive part of the, I'd say, the modern game of the game. Full stop.
Russell Slade has obviously been very much go do what you've got to do.
Yeah.
What about the issue? I mean, it's completely insignificant in the greater scheme of things, but the issue, obviously, Ken Wynne was actually booked for taking his shirt off to make that gesture to his family.
It's a law of the game, which I think should be expelled from the game. Really, I think whether you're sending a message to someone or not. There was the famous incident with Iniesta and his friend who had passed away in a car crash, and he removed his shirt, I think, in the final, World Cup final. So, I think even if he was, bare-chested and you ripped his shirt off, just in celebration. You know, it's the ultimate goal, isn't it? Scoring a goal. It's what, you know, it's the nature of the sport. It's what you're trying to do. It's what you're trying to achieve. People talk about passion and everything. You know, UEFA would talk about passion. Fans talk about passion. Players, managers. And you do what ultimately you set out to do at the start of the whistle, and you score a goal and passions run high, and then you're on a booking for it, which is, I think it's nonsense, because you're not really, you know, hurting anybody. And you know, the shirts they wear these days are so skin tight anyway. It's not like you can't see people's physiques around you. So you know, it's I don't really see the point of having a booking for something like that. It's quite shameful, really, I think.
Okay, well, we'll leave that. Obviously, we wish Kenwyn all the best, as I'm sure everybody does. The game itself, Steve, good to get back to winning ways. 3 wins out of 4 for Russell Slade now. 3 out of 3 at home, and a big improvement on what we saw at Millwall the week before.
Yeah, I mean the Millwall game. I thought. I mean, Slade spoke afterwards about tight margins, and I thought there were tight margins in that game. I think looking back on that performance at Millwall, I don't think it was quite as horrific as people were kind of making out. You know, particularly first half. Really, Cardiff should have led that game, and I think you had a different game on your hands. But yeah, 3-1. Home to Leeds. I mean, obviously a side that's been in a bit of turmoil, but getting some stability now, but with Redfern being named as permanent boss ahead of it. Not a great first half, not much to write home about. I don't think anybody agree with that, but yeah, you know, Cardiff have done the job again. Slade, there's nothing. Yeah, I'm not going to get too carried away. There's nothing. You know, there's nothing spectacular about it. There's no rocket science about it. He's done it effectively. What we've been saying, or maybe you've been saying on here.
We've been saying it
for ages. Is this? Get your group of guys, get them battle hardened, keep the same group as much as you can, play people in the positions they like, set them up. He sets them up 4-4-2. Bang, there you go. It's meat and potatoes. So it's not rocket science, but you know. You arrive at a club and win your opening 3 home league games. You take that, and as I'm sure we'll be talking about more, the away form hopefully will start to take care of itself, and they got that opportunity coming up.
Indeed, yeah, we will go on to that. What about the team selection, Blake? Because, like we said, same team again, same system, 4-4-2. Doesn't allow. We touched on this last week, the likes of Darley, Ravel Morrison. Where do they fit into that? And the answer on the weekend, certainly for Darley, was absolutely nowhere. What do you make of that conundrum? Because some people say they still need a bit of creativity. It's not there in that bank of forwards.
Oh, listen, you know, what people have to understand is, you know, there will come times when times get bad. So, you know, I think at this moment in time, Russell Slade's had a fantastic start, although I slightly disagree with Steve. I think the Millwall game was one that they let get away. I think they were very complacent in their approach to the game, almost waiting for something to happen rather than making it happen and stamping their authority on the game, especially after 2 good home wins. So, you know, players like Darley, you know, yeah, I've never, you know, shouted his name from the rooftops like others. I've always said, like, I can see what he can give you, but he doesn't give it often enough. And I don't know, maybe Russell Slade is saying the same thing, but players like Ravel Morrison, who I feel would give you more, I do think there's an argument to have players like him and Darley. I don't think you just discard Darley. He is a young lad at the end of the day, and he does need time to grow, and he does need time to adjust to the fact that the manager is no longer his best friend, sort of thing. You know, you have to work for your place, and say what you like, there would have been some sort of bias towards him by Ollie because he's responsible for him, if you like. So you know, he's just gonna have to try and work hard to impress, and the things that I've called for him to be doing, he needs to do more often, and be doing that in training, so it becomes second nature. And then I think, you know, the manager would automatically say you're in my plans or you're in my squad, because at the moment, like we said, a rigid 4-4-2, it's not rocket science. I think most people in management, football management today, could have gone in and made things better at Cardiff City. You know, let's look at it. You got arguably the best squad in the division. Well, you have got the biggest and best squad in the division. The team, no one's played like back-to-back 6 or 7 games, so there's the point about the fitness issue. You're playing a strict 4-4-2 structure, whereas before you were playing 3-5-2, 4-4-2, 4-5-1, 4-3-3. You know, it was just so much going on, so much for players to take in. Plus, no one was getting their, like I said, their fitness levels sharpened because they were playing 1 or 2 games, then they were out. So it's like we say, it's not rocket science. What needed to be done is just, you know, bringing it all together, a bit of cohesion, which then creates a bit of confidence. You get 1 or 2 wins, you get the uplift from the manager. So for me, this is all normal, really. I was expecting, you know, Cardiff. On paper, they're better than most teams anyway. So as long as you get them together as a group and make them solid, they should win a lot more than they lose. But the difficulty for me is after the honeymoon period. Is when you could be looking at the manager, where tactically then are you well equipped to handle the championship? Because that question will come inevitably, you know, at this moment in time. It's not, because we're so far back and in such a bad position that people just want to see a bit of a settled, you know, 1 to 11 and normal structure going forward now in future. You know, around Christmas time, after Christmas time is when tactically, you know, you are going to have to maybe adjust players, maybe rest 1 or 2 players, you know, maybe adjust your the way you play when you're going away from home. If you're going to the likes of Notts Forest or Derby or something like that. So it's a long road yet, but you know, foundations are looking good at the moment.
Well, I think definitely the players seem to have responded to Slade. You can just see it in the way they
It's easy understanding, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like someone saying, do you read a Peter and Jane book or read an encyclopedia? You know what I mean? It's the encyclopedia which Ollie was trying to get across it was just overwhelming. You can't play, you know. Like I said, I sat with myself and Eddie Newton sat and watched one game, and I think we played 3 different systems. It
was just confusing everybody.
In about 50 minutes.
It's in,
I've never seen anything like it before. So you know, it's you know, I don't want to take anything away from the manager, because I think he's done superbly well, because it's not automatic you get an uplift. Yeah. So he has like got the respect of the players, but you know, longevity wise, you know me, I try not to go too high or too low on either. Just
he's not going to change it though, is he? While the results are coming, it will still be 4-4-2. It will still be this 11, and the likes of Daly and Morrison will just be impact players off.
The interesting thing is going to be after the Millwall result is
if you lose away again.
Yes, if say they were to lose at Bolton tomorrow night, he goes and sets up like that again, and then they're done. Then they lose, and then they lose at Birmingham. Then people are going to go, well, hang on, all right,
you're going to have to adjust.
Yeah. You know, you're going to have to sort of horses for courses.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Just to get you that first result. Yeah. Just to get your confidence.
Yeah, I mean that would be the only criticism of it. And I mean, but you talk about things going forward, and you know, we're entering into like November. Well, it's supposed to be winter, but it's actually really nice, isn't it? God bless global warming. But I mean, it's gonna get you know, the long nights drawing in, freezing cold into November, December, when things the nitty gritty really comes in. We say it's going to be down to his adaptability and all that. One thing he has got on his side is he's got such a big group of talent. You know what I mean? If they are picking up injuries, they are picking up suspensions. You can hardly say, well, I haven't got the guys to bring in, because he has got those people there. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does deal with that. I thought in your column the other week you made an interesting point. You slightly touched on there, adapting to the opposition. Maybe he's not quite, you know, if you wanted to be really critical, which we may as well be, we got an hour, got plenty of time to be critical, is that he's setting up the side there, this 4-4-2, the same side going in, sometimes not taking into account of what the opposition might bring. For example, Millwall, you know, they're Danny Shitu, they're a big bunch of guys, you know, they're going to rough you up a bit. Cardiff failed to adapt to that in many ways there. So, you know, there's still a lot of fine-tuning to be done, but you know,
Promising.
if Russell Slade was here and I was criticising, he's going to say, "Well, I have won 3 of my home games." And you'd have to say, "Fair enough."
Yeah.
What can you say? So, but really looking forward now, personally, not trying to lead you into anything, Dolly, but these away games,
These away
how
games.
they get along there.
Well, obviously, we start with Bolton on Tuesday night. We believe it. Somebody just pointing out here that Pilkington is a doubt they've heard. We actually believe he is out.
He's out, we think. Yes.
So that instantly actually offers. Does that lead to a change of system? If one of your go-to wingers is out, who would actually come in? Would somebody like Bergstaller, as he suggested?
Well,
is he even in that squad of 20?
Well, this is it.
Players that are going to be
Bergstaller.
do you bring a bomb squad in? Or do you
No, because you've got Kimbo can play on the right. You've got Dali can play on the right. You've got.
I would have thought Dali for me was the man.
Yeah.
Then he wasn't even.
You've got Morrison.
Well, he's had a slight knock, hasn't he?
You've got Morrison who can
so,
play on the right. Ravel can play on the right hand side. You know, you've got
probably, yeah.
You've got an embarrassment of riches.
Well, it's exactly
really.
the point I was just making. And that if they are going onward and picking up injuries, you say, you there's a lot of teams in the Championship. If you said, "Oh, your right winger's out," it'd be like, "Oh, crikey, we'll have to bring one of the kids in." Do you know what I mean? You look at Cardiff and you go, "Oh, your right winger's out." It's like, "Oh, Dali, Kim." Ravel Morrison, who should we go for? So, I mean, I think that perfectly illustrates what he's got at his disposal. So, it'll be interesting to see who he does bring in. Now you say it, Morrison looks pretty. I mean, there's an argument for him to get a start if he can thrive on the right there.
They've only got until January. They've got to start getting
to use it. Cardiff, we're crazy. I swear. I think we just like burning money. Really, we do. We seem to just.
Well, the weird thing about Morrison was never quite got to the bottom of who actually brought him in, was it? You know, it was like
managerless at the time.
Yeah, it's just like apparently appeared. Somebody said, "Oh, hang on, should we bring Ravel Morrison?"
I think it was probably Mehmet Dalman, wasn't it? He brought in Manga, didn't he? It was very much his signing.
I tell you what, on that evidence, he should be managing the team, let alone being chairman.
Indeed, yeah.
Did bring in Ollie as well.
Oh, did he? not all good news then. Oh, well.
Very poor.
Just pop that balloon.
Well, what about, because that was a big talking point before the weekend. Obviously, Ben Turner had been come through a couple of reserves games. He's back in the squad. Lots of people big fans of Ben Turner, including you two, I think. Morrison had been a bit up and down. Sean Morrison, this is, but beforehand, been pretty good on the weekend. They weren't tested much, I know, but...
Yeah.
Where do you stand on the
you would
Morrison v Turner debate?
You would have to make the change. I think Ben Turner's great, and I think Russell Slade really likes him. Every time I've spoken to Russell Slade, you know when you're talking to someone, they always mention someone. You know, it's like when you're with your mate and he always mentions a girl. You think, hey, hang on. He fancies her, you know. Russell, I'm not saying Russell Slade fancies Ben Turner. I'm just saying in a footballing sense, he always brings him up and says he's doing well. And you can see it. Benton is a Russell Slade kind of player. Vocal, you know, stick his head in where people won't put their feet in, kind of war cry.
Is Morrison very similar to that?
He was described as a future captain of the club by Solskjaer, wasn't he, Sean Morrison?
I think as well. I think you've got.
But
to give
players. It's hard to change it at the minute because there's been no catastrophic. Exactly.
And you had to give Morrison time to settle in. You know, I think there was a lot of eyebrows being raised after the first 2 or 3 games, really. And, you know, I always say you got to give, some players will hit the ground running, some players won't. You know, Morrison, he could go on to be captain for Cardiff for the next 5 years. You just, you know, I think you do have to. Well, what is it that you don't like? What he's doing?
No, I don't like.
That's what I'm saying.
To me, he's a little bit bland. He's a little bit. Say you had a dictionary and you say, oh, hang on, look up Championship centre half. Okay, he's got a picture of Sean Morrison there. You know, he's got that. He's this kind of black. Turner's got a bit more battle cry. I know everyone says hoofball and all that, but I don't know. Oh, yeah, I totally agree. After the recent results, you're not going to go, right, sorry, Sean, you're out, and bring in... But I think him and Manga, slowly but surely, are becoming a unit, a very good partnership. Right, okay.
Do you know what I mean? And I think they're both... you know, he can play a bit as well, Morrison. I think Manga's shown he can play a bit.
Manga's been great.
You know what you get from Turner? We're all fans of that style of player, but at the end of the day, if you can't just change a player because what a player used to do. You know, if Turner come in and for 5 games he had a stink and we lost 4 out of 5 games, everyone would be going, well, you know, why did you split up Morrison and Manga? Do you know what I mean? So I think as a player as well, you like to feel like you got your position until you're not worthy of it. You know, you've got it. If you're in a winning team, you know, you've lost 1 in the last 4. To come in and say, right, you're out, you're in. That's almost saying, well, any mistakes or any loss was down to you, not down to the team. So you create then a bad atmosphere, because then any player, no matter who he is, can feel like, you know, if I have 10 bad minutes, or even if I don't not play badly, I can be out of the team like that. And that's, as a manager and a player, you don't want to create that, because it's largely built on trust. I would say trust, reliability, 2 things a manager.
Again, it's a sign of how good the squad is that we're having this conversation. You've got 2 perfectly good centre halves in there, and you're arguing, hang on, this other guy should come in. So I mean, it can only bode well.
Carl's point of view, that Manga likely to miss games in January with the Africa.
Gabon. I'm not an expert. Gabon on the verge of.
They are on the
verge.
They on the verge?
Yeah, I haven't been following that.
So obviously, he says great time to get Turner back. Alex, quite definitive in his view, says Turner should be back in the side and he should be the captain. He's a leader and he always speaks well.
Okay.
So.
Well,
so
I love.
Wouldn't Alex say then, at this moment in time, for someone who's not speaking great English, I think Manga's done a very, very good job, actually, marshalling the defence and organising and what have you.
I think you're suggesting Turner and Manga is the is the partnership.
I don't think anyone's advocating dropping Manga. He's been immense. I mean, he got a goal. And Manga's like I mean, I don't know who talked him into coming, but for me, Manga's like a Premier League.
Well, don't you make him your captain? Worst case scenario, if you are going to change from the goalkeeper, you go to your best.
You make him captain and make everybody else learn French. That would be good. Just to be perverse.
He's that good.
He's great.
A couple of
Everyone's
not a defensive issue, but a couple of comments seems to come in. Blue Jay says would like to see Guerra given a chance on the bench in the absence of Kenwin over these next couple of games.
Seen Guerra.
As Makeda, Lafondra and Maynard have not exactly set the championship alight. He says, Cecil just saying, Blakey, what do you think about Darley and Morrison behind Makeda away at Bolton? Mix up the formation with Gunnarsson, Witts and Joe Rowles holding.
Is that for
I would play. I've always said I'd play Morrison or Darley in that number 10 role. Yeah. So away from home, I would probably. It'd be like playing a 5-man midfield with one of those 2 players just ahead, like in a diamond formation, and behind Makeda or behind Big Kenwin. I think away from home, you know, that could really, really thrive with the likes of Pilkington down one flank and Nuninho down the other flank. I think,
on the Guerra issue, I mean, the impression I get is we haven't seen him and we probably never will.
I think he'll go.
You know,
I think he'll go in January.
Well, of course he will.
Seriously.
Of course he will. He's not going to, you know, his representatives wouldn't want him to stay here. You know, and he's the other side of 30 as well.
32, he is.
You know, he can't afford to be sitting at Cardiff City.
It seems a real shame. I mean, it seems.
Well, this is what I've said in the past, how we've seemed to have signed players, and, you know, there's this issue about, you know, the owner and money and what have you. And I just think to myself, like, you know, whoever's signing these players off.
Well, again, Guerra wasn't really any manager's signing.
Yeah, you know.
Well, no, he wasn't he? Because he was Ollie, wasn't he? Because he wasn't supposed to come in January, wasn't he, originally? Didn't he sign a pre-contract in January?
If we didn't go down and all that, and he still came because we went down, and it was all that.
When we saying though, and I always remember this going, you know, he's 32. He's always played in Spain. He had like was it 11 goals in La Liga. Now he's coming to the championship. You kept thinking, why? And how is he he going to adapt? And the answer to that question seems to be very badly.
And are we lacking in strikers? No, we weren't.
Oh, crikey. It's a
That's what
the strikers will probably have their own Christmas party. Do you know what I mean? There's so many of them. That's
I need to speak to you about our Christmas party later on. But
Hang on, there's a Christmas party. Nobody mentioned it. What?
Damn, John.
That's the first I've heard of it. Yeah, Tux, we'll see you down there.
We're having it in...
Where is everyone?
We're having it in Birmingham, we are.
let's talk about the
Christmas party.
Party. No, about the strikers there with Mr. Gear and the plethora of choices they've got there. How do we feel that's shaping up? Because Makeda and Lafondra, that's where Slade has put his money. Lafondra not really getting the goals, but getting lots of credit every time. I seem to read getting credit for his movements.
I like. Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm a big advocate of Lafondra. I've always liked him as a player. I felt we should have got him maybe when we were in the Premier League, especially because he was such a good impact player at that point, which I thought would have done us really well. But at the end of the day, he's having opportunities and he's not taking them. And I can see in his eyes when camera pans on him, I know he's getting more and more frustrated, and his confidence is seeping away just bit by bit by bit, because it does as a striker if you don't hit the net regularly. And
he's not much of a header of the ball.
Then his strike partner, Makeda, who is scoring, and then Kenwyne Jones, who is scoring. And then you've got to take in consideration people like Nicky Maynard, who in the Championship have always scored goals, and I think if you give him a run, he would score in this league, no doubt. I have no doubt about that. So it's how long, like I say, if you're a player, I'm going to get 6, 7, 8 games to produce. And, at the end of the day, if you're not producing, especially with our squad, chances are someone else is going to have an opportunity and be given an opportunity. So as well as he's playing, he'll be the first to tell you, strikers, you're judged on your goal scoring. You know what I mean? If you can be a Gary Lineker and do very little in the game and put the ball in. Yeah, he'd be the first to.
Wasn't there that famous
he's just a goal scorer. Do you know what I mean?
Story about Ian Wright and the Arsenal fans going, all he does is score goals. You know what I mean? Like complaining.
Yeah. So what I would say is Adam does need to start scoring. You do want both
good headers on the weekend.
Well, he's missed. I would say in the last 2-3 games, I'd say 3 very good opportunities. Then
that one at Millwall, I foolishly watched a video of it.
Well,
the follow-up, the one that lifted over, okay, but that rebound, I've watched it on video, like on a loop, a vine, and it makes me a vine kind of thing. It makes me more and more depressed, like every time I watch it, because it's just like I keep expecting him to score it. Do you know what I mean?
And he never does. Every time,
every time, and everyone's going, "What a great double save by David Ford!" And I was sitting there thinking, "This guy shouldn't be making any double saves. That should be in the back of the net."
I mean, it happened. Listen, as a striker, I tell you straight, a winger come striker, it's the hardest job in the world. That's why they get paid the most money.
It's not as hard as this sort of job.
I thought, football journalists even.
Sitting down talking.
I'm sure there's people all out there going, plasterer, that's the toughest job in the world, isn't it? Yeah. Just an ex-striker to tell us.
Sitting caning people, that's a hard job.
That's a very hard job.
Yeah, but it's a difficult job in the footballing world, and it's the hardest job. So, I'm not saying like, get on his case and drop him, but he's going to know, and that's what we do. We analyse, we critically analyse, or we give support, but he is going to need to start scoring in the next 2 or 3 games.
I'm not totally blown away by any of them. I'm not sitting there thinking... For me, Kenwyne Jones
has been
the best. Yeah. He started the season on fire. Was it 4 in 5 games?
Yeah.
I know that was in the Solskjaer days, and it was all a bit, playing up front and so on. I said it before, for me, Kenwyne Jones is the best finisher at the job. Sorry to hark back to Fulham, but I remember that game. They had, they were 1 behind. They had no chances. They got 1 chance,
and he slotted
and
it.
He scored. I like that. I like 100% conversion rates with strikers. That interests me. I think he is definitely the best striking option there. Makeda, he's proving me wrong. What bugs me about Makeda and makes me completely bonkers is the way he surrenders the ball so cheaply
He does
sometimes
surrender
up
the
front.
ball, he
It
does,
absolutely does my nut in. Do you know what? Honestly, I'm sitting there just going, "Gah!" Just pass it to someone. Don't flick it. Don't try and, but I mean, he's arguing that, but what is it, 4 goals in 5 for him or whatever it is, or 3 goals in 4. Lafondra, I'm the same. I'm a bit kind of like Blakey. I'm kind of like, well, the you're getting these chances. You're not, and the longer that goes on. And what I like about Kenwyn as well is you can play. You were talking earlier about away from home. That
you
thing.
Can play different
you can play him up front, and I don't think it needs. The one complaint, sorry mate, that the Cardiff fans always have with Kenwyn Jones is if he plays on his own up front. Cardiff do nothing but knock long balls up to him. Everyone says, "Oh, he ruins it," because but it doesn't.
Cardiff don't play football.
Well, yeah.
If you look at the way we play, under Slade, you can't say we're a team who gets it down and goes boom, boom, knocking it about. We, Makeda and Lafondra, a lot of the balls are over, like
down the channels.
Yeah, Lafondra's over the top in behind, so. I don't really understand that argument. What I'd say is what Kenwyn gives you above any of the other strikers is a platform to play off. A definite 100% platform. Now, that doesn't mean to say you have to go from back to front. I think with the likes of Whittingham, with the likes of Pilkington coming in off the line, he is probably the best wall to play off. And everyone agrees. He's been virtually unplayable. This season, I don't think there's anyone who can say, well, I got the better of him, or these 2 centre-halves got the better. And I mean, he's going up against 2 centre-halves.
I think he's
been unplayable.
I think if you went to championship defenders and said, look at these guys, who do you least want to play against? They'd say Kenwyn Jones. I wouldn't. That's the guy I'd rather not. And that leads me to think Kenwyn should be starting.
Because I think you can play up to
whether that's as a 1 or a 2.
As a platform. And then I think with the likes of Pilkington, De Silva, Brayford, Noon. I think all these players, De Silva and Brayford, sometimes they're our best attacking options quite often. You know what I mean? They set the tone for us to go forward. And I think with Jones in the team, like Tuck said, Makeda for me surrenders too much possession for a striker. He doesn't caress that ball enough for me. But I think Jones is the way, especially away from home. He's the best
finisher. He's the best at hold-up play. He's the best in the air.
He's frightening in the air.
What more do you... I can't see much more of a recommendation than you can give. That's how all the major boxes being
What's McKay, if you were doing Makeda pros and cons, what would be top of the pros list? What's his major?
I can't tell you.
Well, he's got quite good movement. He runs the channels and he's busy and
That's what Slade seems to like. Then obviously movement,
he loves Makeda as well. Like the bench. I mean, the first time I met Slade, he said the first guy who impressed him was Makeda. I think he must train like house on fire and but in a way as well.
Go on, I was waiting for the punchline.
No, but I mean, we're sitting here kind of saying Makeda, but how many goals he's got? 4 in 5 games.
No, we're not saying he's not we're not saying he's not a good player.
No,
he's kind of a jack of all trades.
What about Kenwyn Jones, Makeda? Up front, that's got goals in it, hasn't it? And
I actually think you can play with. I think you can play Kenwyn with probably 5-6 different partners. I really do. I think you can play him with Makeda. I think you can play him with Lafondra. I think you can play him with Darley. I think you can play him with Morrison. I think you can play him with and then you're not adapting 2 or 3 players up front every time. You're just saying to Noon and Pilkington, right? You're going to play up as in a 3 with Kenwyn, or you're going to play in a 4. And we're going to play Lafondra or Makeda with Kenwyn. I think he allows you to adapt without actually, changing too much of the structure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I hope when he comes back,
they're going to miss him for these 2 games.
Yeah, I really do. I think when he came on and scored Saturday, it was just like a goalkeeper and centre half got in a right muddle because of his. He was after
because he was bearing down on him, wasn't he?
They didn't know what to do. The keeper really had a bit of a shock.
I reckon if Kenwyn Jones given a run in the Cardiff team, he'll get 25 goals.
He's already on 7, is he? Right. 6,
okay,
7.
30 then.
6 he's on, yeah.
6 goals from what? 10 games?
Something like that.
And he's
Something
played
like that.
what?
Does he work?
Probably-
John W. was saying, does he work hard enough though?
But you can't have it all. This is what I'm saying, John. What he's not Lafondra. Okay, that's like me saying, does Lafondra win enough in the air, John? Do you understand what I mean? Lafondra's only 5'7". You're not expecting him to win things in the air.
Yeah, but everybody, no matter how big or small you are, is capable of working hard, aren't they?
I think it's a fallacy, that lazy thing. I think it's a bit of a kind of that's a go-to.
That's not
That's a
understanding
default
football,
setting,
that
isn't
is.
it?
We need a
Because
new
he's quite
presenter.
laid back.
I just put in the points.
Yeah,
we need a new presenter.
Can we get a
That's
better
not
one?
understanding. That's
Where's
not understanding
Terry? Where's
football.
Terry?
Yeah.
You know what he's like? Oh, you know where they're cleaning the floors. Terry, come over here. Can you put that mop down.
What is working hard? So
What's
let me
he
tell you.
supposed to
Let
do?
me
Come back and...
let me say this. Let me say this. Let me say this.
Because we enjoy it. That's why. That's why we're attacking.
Right, let's get John Dole.
Dolly.
Right, I would say that John, who's posed the question.
That John. Which John? The other John? The two Johns.
Okay,
You've
you've got one man
posing
up
the
front
question.
against two centre halves. Even something like just winning headers, and the amount of energy that takes, backing in, holding up the ball. People think to themselves, "Oh yeah, that's easy." Listen, playing up front with two people, you and a strike partner, in comparison to playing one up front on your own, mate, it is chalk and cheese. Trust me. The energy levels you need to be able to play 90 minutes up front on your own is incredible. So you can't be asked to fight two big galoots and run channels and do this and do that and then you get in front of the goal and you miss a chance because you're shattered and everyone goes, "Oh man, get him off!" He's tired because he's been doing this and doing that and fighting. You have to understand. You're not going to say to Lafondra, like I said, you need to win more balls in the air. They're not going to say to Kenwyn Jones, you need to run channels. Different strikers, horses, courses. It's not his game. It's not his game.
John just saying, I'm not saying he's lazy, just slow and lethargic.
Well, he's not there for his pace, is he? I mean, he's not one of those electric, off the shoulder kind of guys. I mean,
he's listen. I think anyone who's seen his celebration could say he's a very good athlete. So he's not lethargic.
It's not good when your best work's in your celebration, though, is it?
Yeah. But
he's the closest for me. You know what? He's the closest thing Cardiff have got to a Premier League striker.
I'd second
playing
that.
in the Championship.
I'd second that.
I think he. There's a few Premier League sides, who'd think, well, we could have a bit of that. But and again, I don't want to come back, but how good is it that we're arguing about all these options and all these guys? We've got a lot of Championship sides out there going, right, okay, the strikers, that's the striker down there. We're like, we're talking about a Spanish guy who can't even get on the bus. People calling for. So
John and John.
Well.
Yeah, John and John. I would say, I take your point, but I don't agree with it.
We're going to take every question personally now.
All he's done is ask.
Yeah,
we're going to pretend.
Does he work hard enough? And he said, I haven't said he's lazy. And John just saying now, that's what he's just trying to say. He's not a natural chaser.
I think that's his style.
That's his style.
That's his style.
I was never a natural chaser of the ball, John. I had that problem.
I remember shouting abuse at you from the Bob Bank. Get him off!
Lazy, good for
him
them.
off. Go, get the real strikers union, aren't we, from Blakey today? Toughest job in the world.
Harder than bricking or laying tracks or roofing.
He's saying it. And nowadays, they don't even get that much money for it. It's only on 50 grand a week. I can hardly believe it. Terrible business.
Not paid enough.
Forget social workers.
Not paid enough.
Strikers, I feel sorry for. Can we talk about something else apart from strikers now?
Quick. Yeah, let's talk about Neil Lennon, who's obviously the Bolton manager, the man who could have been Cardiff manager.
Touted himself.
He threw his hat into the ring.
Right in.
We ended up with Russell Slade. They've both been in charge for 4 games. Slade's won 3 and Lennon's won 2 and lost 2, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, 1-2, lost 2. Latest against Norwich. Not so bad.
He's a good fiery character, isn't he? It'd be an interesting, very different style to Slade as a person, isn't it?
I think what he's got is bags of experience as well, and he's got a higher caliber of experience than Russell Slade. I wouldn't say from, don't jump down my throat, anyone from the SPL.
Rubbish.
Can I have a T-shirt that says "He's saying it"? Not me.
Listen,
I can see Gary later going, I'd like to make an announcement and apologise to our Scottish viewers.
It's a tough old league, and I always say to win any league, you know, credit where it's due. Yes, they're in a comfortable position where they are far bigger than anybody else, and with the Rangers obviously well documented being out there. But listen, Champions League and things like that, I think his record spoke for itself. Neil Lennon, I thought he done with the budget he had,
Barcelona,
the league they play in. I thought he done, you know, marvellous some of the results he got there. So, yeah, fiery character. Could have been our manager, but Bolton, my old club, man. I heard today on the radio coming in, Phil Gartside has flown out to Thailand.
Yeah, talk of
to try and clear up this £165 million debt. Yeah.
So imagine a club with that much. hang on a minute. Hang on. That sounds terrible. Never happened. No, sorry.
I mean, the scary thing is they, just. Digressing a bit, Bolton, no, they're in a position where it could go pop any time, and that's always been my fear of Cardiff with so much debt. You know, it's difficult to claw that kind of money back if you're not in the Premier League. It's difficult enough in the Premier League to claw that kind of money back. Do you understand what I mean? Being outside the Premier League, it's a difficult task, and what you do if you want your money back, the only thing you can do is asset strip. You know, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's always.
So it's always in the back. It's always a worry for me in the back of my mind. But
I thought you were going to get through this without any depression.
Looking at the Bolton game, I think it's an ideal opportunity for Cardiff to go there and get a result. I don't think it's going to get better because their fan base is well down as well.
I don't know, Birmingham on Saturday could be an even better shout, couldn't it, you think?
Yeah.
I mean, they're in...
Yeah.
But that was at home to Bournemouth.
Home to Bournemouth,
They picked up a point on the weekend.
Could have scored 8 at Cardiff.
I was going to say, they've already thrashed Cardiff, so...
but they picked up a point on the weekend.
Yeah, was it 0-0, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, Gary Rabbit going in there. It's, it's probably, the fact that they got 2 new managers. The good thing for Cardiff against Bolton is Bolton haven't gone kind of woof and taken off. They, there's still problems which are evident for everyone to see. So, Cardiff's problem was simply just trying to experiment almost with systems and different players, and So Bolton's problem was, they had the same system, they had the same players, and it almost become monotonous, if you like. I've been told. So bodes for 2 interesting games, but 2 games that we should be looking to win, definitely.
I think they need, it's about, if not one away all season, I think they're due a win away, and that would be a big morale boost, I think. Because let's face it, you don't get in the playoffs or better or whatever without not picking up a regular away win.
I think since Ollie come in, was it Newcastle in the cup, Southampton in the league.
Southampton in the league was the last time they went away. Last year, Juan Callas. Whatever happened to Juan Callas? Oh yeah, I said Juan Callas. Yeah, so they're overdue an away win, and I agree with Blakey on that. Bolton surely.
That's why I said Millwall was one that got away. I thought they were a bit complacent with that.
The problem at Millwall, the most disappointing thing at Millwall was the fact that when they went behind, they looked like a wet weekend, didn't they? Do you remember? There was no fight. There was no oomph about their. They didn't. Millwall, I don't think could believe their luck. They were like, hang on, we're not. I think they were expecting to be pinned back facing the Alamo, and they were just like. What time should we collect our 3? How long left till we get our 3 points? And that was the disappointing thing. I think that was the thing that disappointed Slade most. So, because they've proven it. They went behind against Ipswich, didn't they? And they fought back, and so there is there is the spirit there. It just has to be.
That was at home, though.
Yeah. They're just going to have to display the same thing on the road now. That kind of, if they do fall behind, they're going to want to.
I've said from day one though, the Championship is all about when you've been to the Premiership, you could play all your life in the Championship. You go up to the Premiership 1 year, you go into a different frame of mind in the Premier League. It's the mentality is when you come back to the Championship, to be able to go again and grab a promotion.
Yeah.
You might have a few different players in your squad and what have you, but that mentality, you know, it's not in the Premiership. It is more of, especially for a team like Cardiff, it was like, right, we don't want to get beat sort of thing, so we're going to defend kind of deep, and we're going to try and counter-attack, whereas then you've got to switch that to, right, we got arguably the best squad in the league, we got to go all-out attack, whether we're away from home or at home. We're better than most teams.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
And we've got to believe we're better. And like I said,
that was what you. That was another interesting thing that your column there was that the belief thing again, because they got the players, they've got got the manager now, they've got everything. But is that confidence?
Because I always say they'll I bet you if you spoke to Morrison, Noon, Whittingham, and you had an interview with them and you say, oh, do you believe you can go and get 3 points at Bolton, Birmingham, 6 points, they'd all say, yeah, we can, I think we're playing well, blah, 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 blah. There's a difference between that, just saying it, and actually, like, right, how am I going to do it then? Do I realise how much more I need to put in to be able to overcome these other teams who still no one's going to lie down and give you 3 points. We are going to their backyard, if you like, and you are going to have to really beat them. So it's a difference between what I say saying believing and actually doing believing. There is a difference.
I think a win at Bolton or
if they listen, I think they got to. This is what I'm saying. I think Cardiff have got to start truly thinking and believing, right, we're going to go to Bolton, we're going to get 3 points. And if you play really well and end up losing 1-0 and you've battered them, it's coming as a player, right, we're on the right track. If you go and you play like you did against Millwall, it's kind of like up in the air, you don't know what's coming. Cardiff need to be thinking to themselves now, right, 3-3, we need to get in the playoffs. That's our first, right, 3-3, 6 points, 2 games, 2 struggling teams, change of manager, right? Let's not beat the team when everyone goes, God, they were brilliant against Cardiff City. Back to the old ways, Bolton or Birmingham, and we don't want that. Let them
do that against
someone else. But we're gonna go and we're gonna push them back. Start fast. Yeah, I always say, team starts best usually wins the game. Start well, push them back, come away with the first 3 points, go into the next game. Because Cardiff got the squad, like I always say, if by Christmas Cardiff are winning away from home, get the odd draw, get the odd loss, but winning home and away, most teams in this league, apart from probably 3 or 4, will be thinking, Cardiff coming to town, look at our squad, wow, we got our work cut out today. They're already beat before you get there, if you like. You just got to not disappoint them. And Cardiff got, they got so much ability. Like we've said, Morrison, should he be playing? Daly, Kimbo. There's 3 very talented boys there who can produce all sorts of goods. So, they just got to get the mentality right.
Yeah,
they have to.
They've only got 4 points off the playoffs. Only 5 points off second.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They easily. We said, didn't we? The biggest thing, no matter how badly they're playing, is you don't want a gap forming between you and the top 6, or you and the top 2 of like 15 points.
Doesn't seem like it's going to be this year, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Forest, they've had a bit of a bad run lately. Derby, I think they got beat on the weekend. Middlesbrough won on the weekend. Watford, can't remember their result.
They won on the weekend.
The top 4 or 5 has basically switched.
Well, Bournemouth is
every
second.
game. Bournemouth is second.
They've won 5 in a row.
Yeah.
So.
It could be like that. You at the minute you're getting these people with little bursts. What it's going to come down to is consistency, isn't it?
Yeah, always does.
Who can keep that momentum, not winning or not being beaten run going the longest? That's going to sort out things at the top.
Blue Jay making a nice point. He says, will Cardiff ever come out on top of the possession stats this season? I think pretty much every game.
Well, I said
even in the Slade, like you were saying.
I said on a show on the show I'm on the weekend called Rob. I said there,
You're cheating on this show again.
I know.
Shocking.
I said they need to it's not just about winning. You want to win in style, and some people question that, but I'm like, as a fan, don't you want to go? You pay your hard-earned money. You don't want to just come away going, "Oh, we won." Ideally, that's the nature of the beast. You want to win games, but surely you want to be entertained. You want to see. You know what good football is. Cardiff fans have seen good football in teams over the years. They know what good football is. You want to go and watch good football. That's the idea. You don't want to be watching. I'm not saying you don't want to be watching a team win. Of course, you want to see a team win, but added to that, part of the package is winning style. And someone said, no, it's just about winning. Well, no, it's not. Stoke City, I'll give a prime example, under Tony Pulis, winning, staying in the Premier League. They hadn't been there they'd never been in the Premier League and weren't expected to. They went, they survived, each year got stronger and stronger and stronger. Fans then say, right, thank you, but we want to see some tidy
but
football
right now, Blakey, it's all about. Look at the Malky Mackay season.
Let me finish.
It wasn't pretty, but it was satisfying. I think you take the same this time around.
It is about at this moment in time. It is about just winning.
Yeah,
because they need to build their confidence to it. But come after Christmas, January, February, you want to see good football being played.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's not... I have a slight sympathy with this guy who was saying to you it's about winning, because for me, you look at that Malky Mackay season when they finished as champions, it was really pretty.
Did you
enjoy it? Yes, I absolutely
what did you enjoy
loved
it for?
it.
Not
Because
for the
it was
football.
making history.
But it wasn't for the football. Haven't you got a right as a fan? Haven't you got as a fan? Haven't you got a right to go and watch a team and expect to see them play good football? Yeah. That's the name of the game at the end of the day.
Well, sure, yeah, but there were excitement. The Forest game at home,
I guarantee you then, right? Cardiff, if we're playing what I'd say the back to front style of football, whether they were top of the league, middle league, at some point, fans would get cheesed off with it. I'm telling you now. The reason, but let me give you another point. The reason why Eddie May's team is still seen as one of the all-time great teams, even though they were in the third division, because they play good football.
Okay, fine.
Did you not enjoy that?
No, I did enjoy that.
So did you enjoy that more than you enjoyed the Malky Mackay?
I enjoyed the Malky Mackay season more because of what it achieved. It was about the achievement.
Because it was going to the Premier League.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about footballing. Because we never had a chance to go to the Premier League.
I'd agree. I think most people would agree under Mackay. It was dours, too strong a word maybe, but at times
I don't think it's too much to ask if you're a footballer to play good football. It's like saying, I'm a brickie, I'm going to build this wall. It stops the rain, and you can put a roof on it, but it's a bit crooked. Like, don't worry about that.
I think I know that builder actually that you're talking about in my thing. Well, hang on. To use your analogy, but the wall is still is a wall supporting a roof.
Exactly, it is. It's doing its job. But it doesn't look good.
Hey, look, at the minute, Cardiff haven't even got they got like a few bricks and a bit of cement. Let's build the wall in some before we start putting flourishes.
I think once you go to the Premier League and the squad we've got and the way things have built over the last 3, 4, 5 years, I think you're within your right. You're saying you've got a Premier League centre back. You've got Makeda, Premier League centre forward. Kenwyne Jones, Premier League centre forward. You're talking about Pilkington, Premier League player. Don't you expect, can we expect to see Cardiff with better possession stats? We should expect to see Cardiff with better possession stats as we go forward. Maybe not in the next 3 or 4 weeks, but as you go forward this season,
I take 1-0 at Bolton with the most rubbish possession stats yet seen in the history of possession stats.
But don't you know that in law of averages means you're not going to win more games than you lose. You're not.
No,
if you haven't got the ball, chances are you'll probably lose the game. You won't see many.
Look, there's a guy on there complaining about possession stats. They just won 3 of their last 4 games. Come on. What
it won't. Okay, let's see how long it goes for.
All right.
That's what I say. Let's see how long it goes for.
Okay. 2 opposed comments. One says, no, Blakey, give me a win above performance every single time. Ask most fans, they would say the same. Cecil says, the last game we played, very exciting football, was under Dave Jones, 4-0 away at Leeds, if you can remember that one. It's okay for you, Tux. You get a free ticket, pal, he says.
Well, I wouldn't,
It's the entertainment business, is it not?
Yeah, but it's not. It's not like the mousetrap theatre. Watching a show.
Steve says the style will eventually come because we have talented players.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
Results are more important at the moment. And
Yes.
I would take a scrappy 1-0 every day.
Trust.
I would.
I 100% agree with that.
I'd take 1-0 at
Yeah.
Bolton and people being carried out unconscious with boredom.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would.
Come on, right now,
I would.
they need an away win. But I know what you mean, Blake. I mean, hopefully the style, and I'm sure Russell Slade, if he were here, would say, "Give me 5 minutes." I've got to.
No, but we are saying we ain't. I don't think the person who posed the question about possession was saying anything other than, will we get to the point where we're going to have good possession of the ball, better possession than the opposition? And I say, if you want to win more games than you lose, you need. Why do you think possession is played by every team, no matter how you play it, every day in training? It's 9/10 to the law. If you haven't got the ball, you can't really win the game.
Well,
You can't win.
Recently,
Well, okay, we'll take 50 games in a season and put them into 3 then. I'm saying, if I'm paying money...
Hey, you're not going to be sitting here, if somehow they've gone straight back up, you're not going to be sitting here going, well, we went back up, but, we didn't play well. Are you going to be, you're going to be saying, wow,
it's no difference,
brilliant job.
Well, it's no difference to what we said in the Martin McCoy. We went up, and it was a great occasion, but we didn't go up playing good football. So what happens then? You go into the next league, and you've got a way of playing that is not conducive to Premiership football. You're going to struggle.
Well, I'm not going to worry about how we'll get on in the Premier League now.
Well,
that's definitely putting the cart before the...
Well, I think you're thinking about today and not tomorrow. I tend to think a bit further ahead, because what you're trying to achieve is to get to the Premier League, is it not? Right.
And the way that's going to be done is via wins.
And to have no thought process about how you're going to deal with that when you get there is like...
Well, let's think about that when we get to the... What's that noise?
If we get...
All right, well, nearly. Let's finish with...
We've been rowing too much today.
The usual predictions. I tell you what, give me a prediction and a very succinct player and explanation as to who should replace Pilkington, who we believe is out.
On you, Tux.
I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I was talking about boring 1-0. I'm going to go boring 1-0 Cardiff, and I think Blakey said it, but Ravel Morrison coming in on the right. Why not? He's going to be 4-4-2. He's going to keep it like that. Ravel Morrison in 1-0. Lafondra goal.
Okay, you're going to call the goal as well.
To be honest, this is a little bit wishful thinking more than an analysis.
It's just to help him out,
just be nice.
Yeah,
and he got a header. A Lafondra header from
pick
10
the
yards.
corner or high, low,
I'm not
left
going
of the
to. I'll
keeper,
be
right
happy
of
if
the
it hits
keeper.
him on the head. To be honest, doing that. I'm judging on his other efforts.
I think if Pilkington don't play, I think he'll probably go with Rowles, who's been coming off the bench on the left-hand side. I think he'll probably go with Rowles.
We're getting to the point, if Marshall didn't play, he'd bring Rowles in, aren't we? Seems to sort of pop up, he's like the go-to guy. Oh no, Brayford's out.
But I think, do you think that's probably the natural replacement?
Because
you forget about him.
I'm being more...
We've got so many players,
exactly, we're forgetting about Rowles, and he comes up, I mean... Yeah, but what? On change the formation?
Away from home. No, 4-4-2.
What, with Rowles on the right, on the left?
Yeah, and
Nuninho on the right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he would probably go more solid,
plausible,
cautious than
or might you bring
open out
Morrison
attack?
on and hope for some flamboyant? I hope for the Morrison, but I think that you could be right. Rowles will be in as a sort of like, I like Rowles, but he's kind of like he's like a he's like beige wallpaper, isn't he? So always rely on him. He goes with any. No, hear me out. He goes,
Where do you get that from?
he goes with anything. Do you know what I mean? He'll go with anything. You know.
Okay.
So, whereas Ravel Morrison's like a sort of stripy, swirly pattern.
Okay.
Are we almost done? I'm losing the will.
I just want to leave you hanging.
I know you have. I'm hanging myself.
I'll go for
Wait for the bring back Terry Phillips emails coming in. We didn't know what the guy was on about.
I'll go for. I think he'll put Rousing on the left.
Rousing. I know you haven't said the score, man.
4-4-2. I think we'll go. I think it'll be like a
Pick a number, any number.
2-2 draw. I'll go for
2-2 draw. Here we go. Random. There we
Still no away win then.
Oh, good stuff. We'll finish with a little extract from this email I was telling you about earlier, just to perk you up, Tux.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that sounds good.
There.
What's this, man?
It was from a concerned reader called Anthony, lovely guy Anthony. Because obviously, sadly, we didn't get a show on last week for varying.
I saw you blaming me on Twitter. That was nothing to do with me, but I was in here ready to do it and was told no, we're not.
Someone was
doing
on holiday, wasn't they?
You were off.
I wasn't on holiday.
No.
It just looked like I was on holiday.
I'm trying to deflect over there.
He was away again. You know what it's like these
Anyway,
days.
he was very concerned because he says, have Blakey and Tux fallen out? He said he thought maybe
no more than usual.
Maybe that was the reason. He
No.
said, if Blakey no longer wants to be involved in the boot room, why can't we change it to Tucker's boot room? He's the star of the show and he makes it entertaining to watch. The last boot room without Tux was very dry and boring, he says.
That doesn't say much for Terry.
Cheers, Dad. Thanks, Dad. I really appreciate it. This
Thanks,
guy,
this is Tucker.
what's his name? Anthony. Man, this guy has got it nailed down, man. Tucker's boot room.
You're going to send him a Christmas card?
I still got to pay him for sending that in now. I go, hello, Christmas card.
What's his name?
Good
Anthony.
one.
Well, we'll just have to make sure you impress Anthony some more. Week in, week out.
Hey, that's the tip of the iceberg, that email. There's a whole
I told you he was talented.
There's a whole group of Tucker fans, just like, you know, like the iceberg in Titanic. Anthony's the tip, but underneath there's a...
Oh, I thought he was going to say when you're all sinking. But
to be honest, it feels like it right now.
Nice, mate. Nice.
Cheers, man.
Nice.
Thanks for that. Yeah, thank you, Anthony.
Top man, Anthony.
I really appreciate that. That's cheered me up.
Tucker is.
He's
I
all
know
right.
we haven't fallen out. We never fall out.
We don't fall out, mate.
We never fall out. We have jokes. We have lots and lots
We have
of
a bit
jokes.
of a laugh.
We had a good joke yesterday, didn't we? But we won't mention
We
that.
can't mention those
No, we
jokes.
won't mention
Those are our private jokes.
Yeah, they're between
What about when he did that interview with you about Sheffield United, your old club?
Well, when he
That
stitched me up.
that was... Hey,
When he stitched you
When
up.
he stitched me up.
And the story went, basically Blakey said something like, if they go down, they go down. I'm more concerned about Cardiff or something like that, which transpired that Tucker writing, and I'll be laughing when the Blakey.
And Sheffield United fans.
You had a load of hate
Oh, they were hating on me. And I was like, I went on a radio show about Sheffield United, and the guy was like, did you say that, you don't care if... And I was like, well, no. I said, you know what? Press like
this
me.
is all
They
being...
write things and they really had a go at me. All I was trying to say is exactly what you said, John. My concern was Cardiff City. It wasn't Sheffield United.
I knew something had gone down when I was because I went up for the game and I was at the bus station in Sheffield and I saw a bill for the Sheffield Star and it said Nathan Blake, I'll laugh as blades go down. And I looked at it, I was like,
is that my story? Did I say that?
Well, they were exaggerating. I didn't even write that. It was a long time. Suffice to say, me and Blakey get on fine when we're not arguing.
Yeah,
There we go.
always
Lovely
get
stuff.
on.
Right, I think we'll have to finish there. We've already gone a few minutes.
Great.
Yeah, that was quality.
As always, thank you for all your comments and all your questions for the lads. Live coverage of both the games coming up this week. Tuesday night, 8 o'clock kick-off. I think a little bit slightly later than normal on a Tuesday.
Yeah,
so
it's
quarter
quarter
to
to
8,
eight,
and then Birmingham on the weekend. So look out for that, and we'll see you next week on Blakey's Boot Room. Take care.